Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and welcome guests. Tonight you're in for a treat. Shame it's not Halloween, because it could easily have been a trick. This is my final speech in my level 5 of the presentation mastery. Woohoo! So I started Toastmasters 4 years ago, and this presentation is meant to be the keynote speech, a professional style address. But to be honest, I don't quite feel like a professional speaker yet. 4 years ago, I started Toastmasters because I wanted to develop better public speaking skills. And that is, my title suggests, to redefine my voice. Perhaps it was more to find my voice. And I'd like to share with you my journey from the beginning to where I am now, the great expectations, the reality, and what I'm going to be doing next. So let's begin, but I'll have to rewind to why I joined Toastmasters. And this was because about 7 years ago, I co-founded a business, Wheeler and Lie Chartered Surveyors, and me and my business partner, we have a business, but we want to be visible. People aren't just going to, look us up and, wow, we've got jobs. And we wanted to also to give presentations to other professionals so that they know what we did. To be honest, we did one pre-lockdown, and that went okay. But as you know, we always say to ourselves, it could have been better. Through thinking, how do I improve my presentation skills? What's out there? There's books, there's courses, and then through networking, I met people who spoke about Toastmasters, and I thought, what's that all about? But I kept hearing it, and I thought, firstly, I'm going to put that off. I'm not sure I want to give that a go. But then as it was a couple of years into the business journey, I thought, okay, maybe it's about time I investigated, and this was during lockdown. So I attended my first online meeting, and we all remember those days. Sorry, I was on mute then. So, hi, I'm Salwan. Nice to meet you. That first meeting online just opened my eyes and just blew my mind, because I was seeing people who were kind of in the same boat. There were people who were nervous, people who'd been at Toastmasters for a long time, and they've done speeches. And I listened to the speeches and thought, wow, this really resonates with me. Whatever stories they were telling, whatever topic they were talking about, I always learned something in a speech. So I thought, this is where I want to be. So I joined Solent Speakers, and I thought, yes, presentation skills. I'm looking at other professional speakers, and I thought, wow, they look so polished. Their presentations are so precise and eloquent. I definitely want that in my toolkit. And the expectation I have was, great, I'll be able to deliver professional focused speeches, talk about myself as a commercial property surveyor, and tell people, this is what I do. I do rent reviews, lease renewals. Choose us to be, your advisor, and definitely be more business focused, and also have, again, opportunities to practice, because coming to meetings, you get opportunities to give presentations or listen or take on roles, and just lots of opportunities to practice. And thirdly, I thought it gives you skills that hopefully are transferable, not just in your professional life, but in your personal life. So those were the 3 great expectations: business, 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 and going from A. To B. That was my plan, my business plan. Speeches A to B. But like with all journeys, there are meanders, there are detours, and therefore lessons that I've learned along the way. I'm not going to say that the reality was vastly different, because I want you to join Toastmasters. But I would say, there are detours and things that is unexpected along the way. So the reality, when I joined and what I did, firstly, the icebreaker. Some is an option of your choice, what you want to talk about. And I basically thought, and the guidance suggests, that the easiest thing to talk about is yourself, because, who knows you more than you? And it's okay to just tell people what you want or not want, and it's fairly easy going. So my icebreaker wasn't business focused. It was about me, my passions, what I do, my family. Can't quite remember, but it was an easy topic to do. And other topics I didn't think I'd be sharing, because A to B in between should be business. But actually, I talked about social media, building social media, networking. Okay, slightly businessy, but that was a topic that was about networking. I gave 2 speeches about rock climbing, one about breaking my ankle, and the other one about scaling great heights and not realizing how close to the edge I was. So these were kind of unexpected topics that went into my speeches. And another lesson I learned was that practicing is not just about doing it kind of behind the scenes and making sure you put in the time, but it's also practicing through just taking on the roles. I wasn't expecting to be able to give a speech every session, but taking on roles as part of the team and the meeting. People get to be the Toastmaster, timekeeping, evaluating. These are different roles within the meeting that you can take that gives you little opportunities to practice the public speaking. And I found that through Toastmasters, it gave me more confidence to take on roles. And one of the years, I even got a trophy. And that was because within a 6-month period, I took on, I think, all the different roles that you could take to practice the timekeeping, being a Toastmaster, evaluator, grammarian, all sorts of things. And yeah, that's a nice little trophy. I quite like that. And finally, another thing I didn't quite realize I was going to do was I recorded myself doing my speeches. Not because of vanity, but I thought, if I'm going to see how I progress, what better way than to kind of start from A and see how far along I get to with B. And also I made the bold step of putting it online. So not just for my own purposes, I put it on my own YouTube channel just to kind of share with people in general, kind of behind the scenes of what was going on in my head when I was doing the speech. How did I craft it, or what could I have done better? And through reflecting on that, it helps me improve my speaking, hopefully. And then I can also create maybe somewhere for people who feel they might need help with their speeches and can see the difference, or maybe something resonates with them for them in my speech. And this channel also helps me because I notice I say so, kind of, and we're starting sentences a lot. And these are the things that I'm still working on. And I think through Toastmasters and practicing speeches, attending meetings, I've definitely grown in confidence. And as Geeta said last week, embrace the cringe moment, because not every speech, is going to be polished. You make mistakes, but you learn from it. And to be honest, I didn't think 4 years ago, as a nervous online person attending a meeting, would I be here reaching a almost 20-minute speech. That almost seemed quite impossible at the time. And also at the time, I didn't think, I'm going to record myself. I'm going to upload it so everyone can see it. Because that came with confidence, and I was recording myself for myself, but then taking the step to just put it online is just a different level. And where to next? Having completed level 5 of Pathways, I discovered that wasn't the finish. There's another one that I'm going to have to do, which is the evaluation. But that'll be the next session. I find that I'm really fascinated by the communication and how developing speaking skills is not really the end of the journey. There's more to that. And I've started learning, which is British Sign Language. And I find that it's not just about the way you communicate with your voice, but to the deaf community, your body language, your hands and your facial features is also a way that is in the British Sign Language. And I've been learning level 1, and I'll be learning next year level 2 of the British Sign Language. And I hope that I can expand my communication skills and encompass a bigger part of the community. And better not start a sentence with "and." Because I'm on I've joined Solent Speakers, I was also invited to be on the Solent Speakers Committee. And that involves volunteering your time and helping the club run behind the scenes. But not only that, I also joined a different committee outside of work, which was the Portsmouth Property Association Committee. And it's through the building up of the confidence levels and thinking, I'm going to step up and give more time to kind of the volunteer element. I'm going to step up from the committee, and I'm going to hopefully become the next chair of the Portsmouth Property Association. I'll put my name in the drawer anyway. And that'll be what I'll hope to be doing next, so that as a voluntary organisation, we can help more of the local community. It donates to charity, so I get to pick a charity to help. And, it'll just be, I don't think I would have done it if I hadn't grown in confidence in my public speaking skills, basically. Because in one of the events that the PPA do is hosting a dinner to about 400 people. And I haven't spoken to 400 people yet. There's about 12 in this room. So that'll be a next step up. So that's my journey of Toastmasters. And when you join, I wanted to improve my public speaking skills. I believe I have done that. Although I wouldn't say I'm a professional speaker at the moment. But I reckon for over 4 years, it's been about 10,000 hours, although not in all of that is speaking, thankfully. But even though all in all, they say 10,000 hours makes an expert, I'd say plus a bit more. But certainly putting the time in to attend, getting the feedback, which from the evening has been really positive. And when you do give speeches, you get feedback and you get to learn what works, what doesn't work so well, and it all helps to kind of mold you and create a more courageous speaker. So I'd like to leave you with a final thought, which is that you might come to Toastmasters to learn to be a leader or to learn to be a better public speaker, but along the way you meander, you learn to listen, You learn to be a bit braver in your move and your goal setting, and you learn a kind of a wider, broader area than you first thought. So that was my Toastmasters journey, and I hope that you have a similar journey. Thank you for listening.